Atletico Madrid take on Arsenal at the Wanda Metropolitano today in the Champions League semi-finals. And this is the first leg of the game. This game will be a very, very interesting game, contrary to popular belief. A lot of people think it's going to be haram versus haram football. It's going to be defensive versus defensive football, which I don't think it's going to be. I think both teams are going to go for it. However, both of these teams are more defensively minded and more defensively resolute compared to PSG and Bayern Munich. Now, because of the gung ho game that took place yesterday between PSG versus Bayern Munich that ended in a 5-4 win to PSG, which was incredible football. Very incredible football, skills, action packed goals, and all that good stuff that we love to see. I don't think that is what is going to happen in this game, and that's not a bad thing. Both these teams are not known to play that type of football, especially this season, right? Both teams are they win their games how they win their games. They are more defensively resolute, especially Arsenal. Arsenal have been flawless. No matter what you want to say about Arsenal, right? Even like presently, they might not be scoring a lot of goals. They might have fallen off. However, in the Champions League, they have been the best team by far. By far, Arsenal has been the best team in Europe. No matter what you want to say, especially in the Champions League, they've conceded lesser than everybody, and they haven't lost any game. The same Arsenal um beats Bayern Munich 3-1. The same Arsenal in the group stage beats Atletico Madrid 4-0. So Arsenal has been the strongest team in the Champions League compared to this team. Now, a lot of people will say that yes, it doesn't matter because that was in the group stage, which I agree. This is where it counts. The group stage was the group stage. It happened last season in the Champions League where Arsenal beat PSG in the group stage 2-0 and then lost when it mattered most in the semi-finals. So I agree with that. I very much agree with that. However, Arsenal has still been the most flawless team in the Champions League so far. So this game is going to be action packed in its own way. You understand? And I think there would be a couple of goals in this game. I think there will be a couple of goals in this game. I think it's going to be interesting. Um, you know, Atletico Madrid have been decent this season, but Arsenal have been also very decent this season. No matter what you want to say, Arsenal are on the top of the Premier League table. You can say that they've dropped a lot of points to the points that they are now fighting with City, and they are not sure whether they would win the Premier League, whatever, whatever. But as it stands, Arsenal is still first on the Premier League table. Yes, they lost to Southampton in the FA Cup. They got knocked out by Southampton, and they lost in the final of the Carabao Cup to Manchester City. I agree. However, what is done, and we are speaking for now. In the Premier League, Arsenal is number one on the table, and in the Champions League, they're one of the favorites. And who do I think is going to win this game? I think Arsenal is going to win this game. I really do think Arsenal is going to win this game, in my personal opinion. Yes, it's a game of two legs, and anything can happen. Even if Arsenal wins this first leg, something might happen in the second leg where Atletico win and end up getting to the final. However, I just think Arsenal is, just due to the fact that they are more defensively resolute, and in the Champions League, Arsenal have Arsenal score goals. Arsenal score goals. Yes, they might not have the attack of a PSG. They might not have the attack of a Bayern. Which is the benchmark. If not, they don't even have the attack of Manchester City. Which is the benchmark for attack. They don't have the benchmark, the attack of Barcelona or Real Madrid or things like that. But on a good day, if Arsenal catches you on a good day, they are pumping you. They are pumping you. That's just something about it. If they catch you on a good day, they are pumping you. They can give you like 2-0, 3-0, and close shop, The thing is that Arsenal can score you, but when it's time to score them, you can score them, but it's not going to be easy. So that is just my opinion. I just feel like it's going to be a very interesting game and one to look out for. My score prediction for this game is 2-0. 2 to Arsenal, 0 to Atletico. But we'll have to wait and see. So keep it locked for my post match reaction on the game. Please like the video, subscribe, and until next time, peace.